those days where I just got fed up and I had got annoyed and I wanted to just delete my account. And on that day is when I actually got a message from Ben, and that I think was the start of all these good things. We had a few messages that were exchanged, and then I finally got his number. And after a couple of days, we decided to meet up, and we met up in King's Cross. At that point, we were just messaging until then, and then on the day when we met up, he asked me, "Have you arrived?" I said yes, but I think I'm lost. He said, "Where are you?" I said, "I don't know." And then I had to send him a picture of where I was, and then he came and found me.
The navigator.
The navigator, yeah. And then when he came, I was actually a bit nervous as well. I think I was nervous on the train as well. So when he actually came, I was quite surprised because I genuinely thought I was getting catfished. I couldn't believe that it was the person that I was talking to.
Couldn't believe that this good-looking guy had messaged it and thought, this is the guy I've been waiting for.
Yeah. Yes, and then from there we went for a walk around the park. We just got to know each other a little bit better from there. Yeah.
Yeah, so I signed up to the free version of Christian Connection after my, I think, second year at Bible college, so I had one more year left. And I was thinking, you know what, I really do think it's time to find a wife. To be honest, that was what I thought, but I wasn't willing to spend $29.99 a month, was I? So I had 5 free messages to send, so I ended up sending Sandy a few. I sent a 50-mile radius from where I was in London, and now Sandy was 49 miles away if you do that radius, so I'm so pleased. She was in Kent, but actually in mileage it's actually 74 miles, but it just came in the radius. So we met in London, and like we said, we exchanged messages on WhatsApp, and then we finally met. And when she was lost, I mean, it was like, where on earth is she? And good job I knew King's Cross, because she would literally not found us. And I was nervous as well, to be honest, because I actually said to my friend, I think I'm going to go and meet my wife. That was my intention when I was starting to be serious, and I was nervous. So I remember I first seen her, I was desperate for a week.
Yeah,
so I was like, I met her and I was like, wow, she looks amazing. But then I was like, I really need to go for a week. So I remember saying to her, and she probably thought, is he going to do a runner?
Yeah, I did think that.
Are you running away? Or what was that like?
Yeah, I did think you were dodging it a little bit. And obviously when you went and found the bathroom somewhere, I couldn't go into the shop, so I wasn't sure if you were actually coming out. And then we walked a little bit further and you had to go again. So I was like, I wasn't sure what was going on there.
Yeah, but that was great because we walked and talked, intentionally got to know each other in Regent's Park in London.
That's it, yeah.
And then we had a nice herbal tea. And those two things are two things that we've kept doing as we got to know each other.
We have actually, yeah.
Walking and talking and herbal tea.
Yeah.
I ended up having I decided, we were going to go to Austria for Christmas, to the Christmas market. And I decided on the Tuesday that I was going to propose.
Yeah.
So I had 3 days to get this ring.
Yeah.
And honestly, looking for this ring in London was just the most ridiculous experience I've ever been through. And managed to ask the sister all these questions and stuff like that. We went to Austria, and when we got there, we were literally right next to this huge mountain in Austria. And did you have any idea I was going to ask you?
No, I didn't actually. Because it was a pre-planned holiday, I didn't think that was going to happen. And I'm the one who picked the hotel and everything, so I didn't expect him to plan anything around that. But it was a bit suspicious in the morning when he just disappeared off for breakfast, and I thought, okay, where's this guy gone? Then I thought maybe he just needs a bit of a wander, just left him to it. And he came back and he said that he's bought tickets to go up the mountain, which was literally across the road. You had to go into like a
ski lift.
Like a ski lift, yeah. And he wanted to go to the highest level, and I thought, wow, he's feeling generous today. He actually paid for that ticket. So initially I was a bit like, okay, maybe he's in a good mood. Then I just thought, okay, because we're here only for the weekend, so he's splashing out now, so it's good. But I didn't think.
Because normally when I go to these places, I like to look at enjoy the probably free things of the area, and see the Okay, brother calls us budget Ben, but it's more like getting the most out of the experience for a limited budget, I would say.
Yeah.
And it's amazing the amount of things you can do. But anyway, we're 6,750 feet in the air, and it was suspicious. I was really nervous, so I went to get the breakfast, and I was asking the local people, where can I go? And I knew I needed to get to the top of this mountain.
Yeah.
And so I did fork out more money than I normally would to get to the top of this thing. Considering we weren't going to ski, people were like, why are you going up there? But anyway, I had this massive box in my pocket, and I was like, I wanted to hide it.
Yeah, but I couldn't tell because you always have weird stuff in your pocket.
That's good then, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's
so
good.
I couldn't tell, I didn't know.
Yeah, then we got to the top, and I remember being so nervous, I needed a wee desperately.
Obviously.
And again, when you get nervous, you always need the toilet, isn't it? And then I went to the toilet, I was like, right, this is it, I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah.
So I had a proper letter.
Yeah. Even then, like when you were quite nervous, I thought you had a fear of heights, and I thought that was me, but he was like panicky.
No, it's
and,
not
like, just
panicky.
very,
It
it was like anxious.
I was a bit like, yeah.
It was just really weird behaviour, so I just thought maybe you're just like freaking out.
And there was a little bit of people, and there was a DJ in the background. So I was waiting for the right song, and I was like, is he going to play a nice song? And then what was the song called that he actually played when I asked? It was something about believing in miracles or something.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like that anyway. And then I just went for it, and I asked someone on a deck chair, an Austrian man, if he could film it.
Yeah.
You know, being in the 21st century, wanted to video it, and he just sat there, and I told him I'm gonna propose, and his face when I said that, I was like, I'm gonna propose, just press play, and he was like, I don't speak English, wait for my wife. And I was like, no, go for it. I just went, left him. And then I went to you, and I was so nervous. And good job, I prepared some words, and I was like stuttering, and I was, once in my life, I was struggling to string sentences together.
Yeah.
But you're amazing. And yeah, basically just went and asked her if you'd marry me.
Yeah.
And you were a bit
I was a bit surprised because of the way you approached me. I think I was a bit freaked out that time, and then you just pulled out the letter. What is happening?
I'm glad the letter was really good as well in that respect, so you could read it afterwards while we're enjoying the view.
Yeah.
And that was great. And then we went and told some friends and family.
Yeah.
It was very spontaneous.
It was a good day. That was a really good.
And honestly, the next day it was so cloudy.
Yeah.
You couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
And that day it was like.
It was perfect. The sky was clear.
It was
The music was right. The weather was perfect. It was just a perfect day.
And you can't explain how good it was. Like you could see all across, like 6,750 feet in the air. I was like, and everyone was like, that was the best because I was like, I did not plan that at all.
Yeah.
I got so lucky. So yeah, someone was looking out for us.
Someone was looking out for you.
You were brought up in Kenya for 10 years.
Yeah.
And you obviously now moved over to England when you were.
Yeah, so my home church is quite a long way, so I don't have a set church here. So why is that significant for you?
Yeah, so on the 20th of January 2013, I'd worked 177 days in a row in a gym in Newcastle. And my whole life was just like all about work, and kind of got lost in that world of just chasing about money and the wrong things I'd say I was chasing. And on that Sunday, I remember going to church for the first time in a long time, and it was that church building. And I remember the vicar who's actually going to marry us, Tim, he was leading the service, and he said, tonight we're just going to be still and do nothing.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how I felt?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to do nothing. And I remember thinking, I'm just going to walk out, and I was sat in the middle where you're going to walk down the aisle.
Yeah.
And I remember, and I wanted to leave straight away, and I didn't. And someone stood up and spoke that night who was like a mentor, and he said three things. He said, your past makes history, be present, and let your future be God's story. Mm-hmm. And that night, it sounds cheesy, but like a lot of people say, I've seen the light. He was talking about how Jesus is the true light of the world. Yes. Whoever follows him will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. And that day, I was so convicted that I got so busy in all the wrong things, and I'd lost who I really was as a person. And that day, that past making history, it showed me about what Jesus did on the cross, and how that means I have a fresh start in life, and how I can be present, and how the future can be God's story. And I really think that those three things are things that I believe for both of us in our relationship, is that the past does make history, and we want to be present on that day, and the future, we really want to give that to God and let the future be God's story.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's why, and my mum and dad also met there as well, at that church.
Oh yeah.
My grandma was also a part of that church as well. So it's a really significant place for a number of reasons.
I had moved to a different town away from London in Kent, and I really feel like that was the time God really separated me, because although I wasn't into too many crazy things, I wasn't going out anything, but my work life had taken over my actual life, and I was too busy, and there was no time for God or anything like that. So when I actually moved away, I feel like God used that time as separating me from everyone, and He really spoke to me in that time. Obviously, I had got my place and things, and I thought next steps, where are we going with this? And obviously it was like finding a partner, finding a husband. I did, I tried to do it my way, but I always was heartbroken, and it was basically just a failure. And then in that time, when I was on my own, God really spoke to me. So I came across a series online, just searching at one time, just was so desperate, and I just went online and I searched what does God have to say about relationships, and what's his view on it. And I came across this series called Relationship Goals on YouTube, and I watched the whole thing, and in that series God just literally changed my life, because in the culture that I come from, we don't get educated, we don't get told what to expect from relationship. You kind of lose your own identity because you're always people pleasing as well. So in this time I got taught a lot about me and my identity in Christ, and what he wants for me in a partner. So I started looking for someone with a different sort of lens at this point, and this is where then, when I was content with myself, is when God put Ben in front of me. So I think, in that time that I was away was probably kind of an eye-opening experience, and then I met you, and here we are now. So as God has walked with us while we were separate and while we were single, God's still gonna have his hand on us. And like I said before as well, the fact that you might have your set list of what kind of person you want, but God knows what you need. So when you leave it to him, he will find that right person for you. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing, and I can see like the benefit that's had on you, like the Transformation Church. Give it a watch. It's amazing. It changes a lot of things.
It definitely changed my life. It definitely changed my life, and I've carried on following that church as well, because I feel like God really speaks to me through them.
And for you, like, I think it's amazing how God's brought us both together. Like, for me, I know that God gives you the desires of your heart.
He does.
And for me, after university, I went overseas to sports ministry, and I went to India 5 times, and I've been over to Malawi 5 times, and they're 2 places that I absolutely love. And I love Indian culture. I fell in love with everything to do with India, and I love everything to do with places in Africa. And to find someone who is Indian and was brought up in Africa, I never thought that was possible, to find all the things that I love in life to be found in a person who's also a Christian and good looking and so beautiful and fits with me. Is like, the chances of all those things are so small. I thought it was never going to happen.
Yeah.
And to find someone who fits that criteria, like, God does give you your desires of your heart.
Yeah.
And going forward as well, I'm just so excited to see what's going to happen going forward. And we're planning to go overseas to Malawi next summer.
Yeah.
And Sandeep is going to use her pharmacy background, and I'm going to use my sports background, hopefully to work for the local church, and to go and to try and use what our skills, talents and abilities to try and change lives and transform communities.
Yeah.
And that's because God's done that in our own life first.
Yeah.
And after he's done that in our own life, we want to give our whole life to him, and for him to use whatever he wants us to do in the future, whatever that may be. If that's in this country, if that's in somewhere like Malawi, or wherever that is in the future, we just want to serve him wherever that is in the future, and use the gifts that he's given us in the future.
Yeah.
And I think the best is yet to come.
Yeah, definitely.